What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over some troubleshooting techniques and common issues that you can find in your semi-auto shotgun. Not particularly to the Derya DY12, but in general, your semi-auto shotguns can run into these issues, and this is a quick way of troubleshooting them and figuring out what's going on. First things first, as always, remove your mag. We are empty. We're gonna lock our bolt back, remove our chamber flag. There's nothing in our chamber, nothing in our magazine well. We are safe to handle and proceed. All right, so first topic I want to touch on your semi-auto shotgun. So failures to feed or cycle, short stroking, another common term used for it. All right, short stroke happens when not enough gas goes in through your system to completely cycle your bolt all the way rear to pick up your next round and insert it into your chamber. It can also happen on your ejection. If you don't have enough gas to cycle your bolt, you will run into ejection problems as well, causing stove piping or double feeds will be some of the issues you can run into from undergassed systems. Now on the Derya, some of the reasons that you can run into undergassed systems would be either you have a dirty piston or gas port and not enough gas is going through to complete the cycle, or if you're using light loads, example birdshot, and you're using the heavy piston instead of your light piston on the Derya DY12, you can encounter the short stroking of your firearm, causing the issues with cycling. So if you're having issues with cycling, make sure you're using your correct piston on the shotgun for the application. If you're using birdshot light, if you're using buckshot or slugs, use your heavy piston. Okay. Another thing that you can look into is your system clean. Remember, a clean system will always be efficient and it will keep your firearm cycling in tip-top shape. Okay. Another issue that you can run into is, as we touched before, ejection. Ejection is basically the same thing as your feeding problem, with the gases from your system cycling your bolt all the way back. So if you're having ejection issues, that just means your bolt is not going far enough back to eject the spent casing and pick up your next one. All right, if that's happening, again, main things you want to check is, are you using the right piston? Is your system clean? Because if your ports are clogged on your gas system, you won't get enough gas to cycle your bolt and you'll run into the same issues all over again. So check your piston, check your system, make sure you're clean. If you're not clean, clean your system, try again, you should be working fine. Another possible issue you might encounter on a semi-auto shotgun, your bolt not locking back on your last round. We have an empty magazine. On your regular function, when you shoot your last round out of your shotgun, your bolt should lock back as so. That's a clear indication that you are empty. There is nothing left in your chamber, in your magazine, and your firearm is empty. Hence your bolt locking back, because of the little guide on the back of our magazine that indicates and activates our bolt stop on the opposite side of our firearm to initiate keeping our bolt back. Now, if your bolt is not locking back on your empty magazine, there can be a couple things. It can either be that your bolt is dragging on your magazine, causing it to stay down longer than it should, and it won't activate that bolt stop. Or it can also be another gas issue. Now, why a gas issue? Again, if you're not fully cycling all the way back, example, you have your magazine and you eject, but if the system does not go far enough back, guess what? It's going to follow right back forward. It's not going to lock back. It has to complete the cycle for it to lock back. So if you are having issues with your bolt holding back on the last round, make sure your tab is functioning It should spring out as it normally does, okay? Make sure that your gas system is completely cycling by making sure that your piston and your gas system is clean, and make sure you're using the correct piston. If you're using light loads with a heavy piston, you're not going to have enough gas going through the system. It's not going to cycle completely. You will run into that issue, amongst other issues like cycling and feeding. So make sure right piston, clean system, complete the cycle, should hold your bolt back. Now, another possibility that can happen with your semi-auto shotgun, you can encounter light strikes or your firearm just won't fire. You have a live round in there, you pull the trigger, you hear the hammer fall, but the round will not go off. This can be either bad ammo, or another possibility could be that if your bolt is dirty and you haven't done maintenance, your firing pin will start getting sticky in the channel and it won't go all the way forward, or will have resistance to where it gives you a light primer strike. All right, so if you're getting light primer strikes and you're not getting your shotgun is not firing, check your bolt firing pin, make sure that it is clean, the channel is clean, your firing pin can move freely. Another option could be that your hammer spring might be weak. Okay, not a very common issue, but if your firing pin is moving freely and it is clean from all debris and powder residue, and it has free moving, then I would suggest looking at your hammer spring to make sure that it has the correct tension, so it has enough force to let go of the hammer with enough inertia to hit the firing pin hard enough to ignite your primer. All right, so that is another potential troubleshooting issue you can encounter on your semi-auto shotgun. What's next? Recoil. All right. Next is if you have, another issue you can find on your semi-auto shotguns to troubleshoot. If you feel when you're out at the range an unusual kick, so you fire and it's kicking harder than it usually does, I'd look into what piston you're using. If you're using a light load piston with a heavy load ammo, such as your slugs or high powered rounds, then a lot more gas than should be going through the system is cycling. That additional gas will shoot that bolt back harder, and in turn you will feel a harder thump on your shoulder. So if you're feeling harsh cycling or a heavier impact while shooting, chances are you're overgassed, and I'd check your ammo and piston setup, making sure that you're on the right piston setup and using the right ammo for the piston that you have set up on your shotgun at the moment. Common issue that you can encounter on your shotgun is magazine feed issues. Now, magazine feed issues, most common things that can happen is, let's say you serviced your magazine and you disassembled to clean, lubricate, and reassembled. If you put in that spring on the inside for your follower backwards, then most of your tension is going to be on the rear of the cartridge instead of the front. So instead of the round wanting to feed upwards at an incline as it should, it's going to want to nosedive. As it nosedives, it'll probably just jam up against the bottom of your barrel, or it might cause a failure of feeding or ejecting because the angle is not proper. You won't get that round in. Another issue that you can have with your magazine is if you don't fully seat it into your shotgun. So let's say, we have our loaded mag with dummy rounds. These are not live ammunition. These are solid aluminum machined dummy rounds. So let's hypothetically say you insert your magazine. It might seem like it's fully seated, but it was not seated, as you can tell from the magazine latch clicking in as soon as I pulled down. Now, if your magazine is not fully seated and is partially seated, yes, it might seem like it's in place, but as soon as you try to load up, it's not going to pick up anything. It's not high enough in the magazine well for the bolt to engage the back of your round. So always make sure you insert your magazine as an added precaution. Nice little light tap at the bottom to fully seat it, so that way you can ensure your bolt can pick up your rounds. Another possibility for magazine issues would be, and this would be an extreme case of heavy use of your equipment, the spring itself can fatigue over time and lose pressure or strength. Overall, if you have a tendency of storing your magazines fully loaded, you will compress that spring, and over time it can weaken it. Okay, if you have a weak spring, that follower won't come up with enough tension. It can cause issues on feeding both on inertia. So as the shotgun fires, that inertia of the kick, if it has a weak spring, it will bounce the spring and will give you misfeeds. It can also be that your spring doesn't have enough tension to push the rounds up efficiently enough or strong enough for the bolt to catch. So that might be another issue with your magazine. Not a common issue, but it can happen. Weak springs can cause failures from your magazine as well. So guys, I hope this video helped you out. If it did so, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification so YouTube lets you know when we release new content on our channel. As always, I'll leave links down below for all the tools and equipment that we use in all our videos. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you on the next one.